Today, I want to reveal with you a strategy to get a woman to chase you and like you more, all done through a psychological and subconscious sort of framework. And that framework is getting her to invest. You probably have heard this word thrown around a few times, signs of investment, let's get her to invest. But in this video, I want to talk about different strategies and different ways that you can actually get her to invest depending where you're at. This can be for long-term relationships, this can be before you've met a girl, and this can also be throughout the dating and courting process. Now, one of the main reasons we want to get women to invest is because we need to establish what I like to call the prize frame, which is just a subconscious way of showing that our value is greater than hers, which will over time, once again, allow her to chase you. Now, from a psychological standpoint, the more that somebody invests, especially a more woman invests into you, overall, the more she's going to be attracted to you. Think about it. Think about the woman you haven't invested in. Think about a girl who didn't give you a lot of investment. Overall, chances are they probably weren't that attracted to you. And that's why people get more attracted to other people throughout time, is because of the amount of investment they have within one another. Now, lastly, there's something called the sunk cost fallacy, which stands that our tendency to continue with an endeavor we've invested money, effort, or time into, even if the current costs outweigh the benefits. So this is why potentially somebody will say in a toxic relationship, or overall somebody will find it hard to leave something or somebody. It's because the amount of investment and effort they put into it. And before we get into the strategies, I have a perfect story kind of explaining the scenario that has happened one time in my own dating life, and I call her Pizza Girl. Now, I've given the story of Pizza Girl before, but Pizza Girl was really attractive, like one of the most attractive girls I matched with on Hinge. This was late 2020. I remember she ended up messaging me first, which is awesome. And keep in mind, this girl was like perfectly my archetype, body, like everything is like 9 out of 10. So with that being said, whenever a girl is like more so attractive, you tend to step out your usual zone and boundaries in some cases. And here's where I messed up. So date one, I went for pizza and drinks with her. The reason is because in her bio, she stated how she knows the best pizza spot in my city. And so that just naturally led towards a communication or a conversation towards going to a pizza spot. So not only did we go to this pizza spot that actually wasn't that cheap, but actually we went to a place to get drinks after, and guess who invested most of that money? Actually, all of it. Me. I paid for everything. She didn't. The only thing she invested is literally just her time. And I drove to her part of the city, which is also a bad thing that we're going to talk about. So date two, this is where we got hookah together. We went to like a hookah bar, hookah lounge, ended up getting more drinks. I ended up paying for the hookah. I don't even like hookah. This is something that the girl wanted to do. So once again, what am I doing in this scenario? I'm investing more so in her than she is to me. Now, day two, I actually did kiss her. However, things weren't escalating physically for me at all. It was honestly getting to the point where I felt like I was starting to get used for dates, because I remember I brought up the fact that she can come over my place first and then we can drive to the area, but she rejected that offer and instead wanted to just meet me at the place. I was like, okay, it's day two, whatever, and we'll see how things go. Day three, I'm starting to get more and more invested. I try to back off the gas a little bit and then suggest that we go get sushi, because she said she likes sushi. And so we ended up getting sushi and drinks at this one particular place. At this point in time, I'm now probably $350 to $400 in, and not to mention about 5-6 hours spent with her. She's maybe put in, of course, the time, but from a monetary standpoint, maybe 20 bucks, like really not anything at all. So we got sushi and drinks, tried to get her back to my place, but she was on a time constraint. Like something happened to where, we really didn't physically escalate. Now, day four, I tried to invite her over for dinner, and once again, she wasn't going with it. I think at the time, like she was more stricter on her religion or something. And also she was older. So she was like 27, 28. I was only like 24 at the time. And so with that being said, I was like, okay, this has never happened to me before. I'm investing so much time, but I've already invested so much time and money and effort into this girl. I've already physically escalated a little bit to where I'm starting to have sunk cost fallacy, to where it makes it harder and harder for me to leave. And some girls will actually do this as a strategy to get you more and more invested because they understand these strategies so that you can invest more into them before they give sex to you. So we end up doing tacos in a bar. And at this point, I'm like, if nothing happens, if I don't pull her back to my place, if she's not comfortable, at least physically escalating with me, then I'm gonna cut my losses. And sure enough, she was not, and I felt like she was pretty much evading getting private with me, though we've had good talks that we spent like 7 hours together at this point in time. And it was a hard walk away, but I had to walk away. And to this day, I believe that's my biggest epic fail when it comes to just the amount of effort and time I spend into a woman solely because of her attraction and beauty. That's what I'm telling you guys, like, just because a girl's super hot doesn't mean like you can fall against your boundaries. And I almost did. Now, one last thing, funny enough, it was probably about 7 to 8 months later, we ended up matching on a dating app again, or got reconnected in some type of way. We actually, in a friendly date, I just want to see what would happen. Idiot, once again, we went bowling, but I did not pay for it. We actually split it down the middle 50-50 because I already knew something, actually nothing was gonna come out of that. So anyways, let's get into the stages of investment. So there's gonna be 3 tiers. And remember, we want her to invest emotionally and physically. That's what I'm talking about, investment from this standpoint. So tier 1 is pre-meetup, and this is at the very start. So you guys are talking on Instagram, you approached her, she's on the dating app, whatever it may be. First thing throughout conversation is that you wanna ask open-ended and thought-engaging questions. Basically, in terms of investment for tier 1, we want her to engage simply in conversation. One big sign that I look for women in my quote unquote dating funnel that I move through to see if they qualify for a date for me is to see if they're having some sort of investment in the conversation. Now, sometimes women will naturally have a lot more investment depending on how expressive they are, depending on their attraction levels towards you. However, you might have to bait some of that investment out of them. And you do this once again by asking open-ended questions, starting with how, what, why, tell me about. Different iterations at the beginning of the sentence like that is how you initiate a thought-provoking open-ended question. Basically, if they can answer yes or no to the question, then it's not an open-ended question. So make sure your questions are open-ended, especially at the top of the funnel. Also up next throughout the text is that you want to induce a statement in conversation to get her to ask questions back. This is what I like to call an investment test. So what do most guys do? They ask questions consistently to keep the conversation going because you're in fear that if you just provide a statement, then the conversation will end. Has that ever happened to you? It's happened to me a lot. However, you'll find yourself asking a lot of questions in a row, even if they're open-ended. So strategically, after you've asked a few questions, and especially if she's not asking questions back, then what you want to do is reply in the form of just a statement and see if she'll carry the conversation. Once again, this is an investment test and more so like an interest level test too that we can pretty much describe it as, because if she's medium to high, medium to high interest, she's going to reply back to your statement with either a question, a follow-up, something like that. You'll find that the girls who really don't show that a lot of investment or attraction towards you will either like your message or just simply leave you on red. Up next, in terms of investment for tier 1, we have the compliance tests. Now, I've done a whole video on compliance tests and why they're important in dating, but just to make it short for you, at the top of the funnel, especially the dating funnel aspect, whether you're talking to her on dating apps or Instagram or even approaching her in person, what you want to do is give her your phone number or Instagram and allow her to message you. These are subtle and subconscious ways that you're getting her to take out her phone or go to another app, type in your name, click follow, or send a message, right? It's little things that these guys don't think about. And so once you add up these little investment tests over time, by the time you're actually on a date with her, she has actually invested quite a lot. She's invested in the conversation, she's invested in the compliance test, and you'll tend to find that a lot of women will actually fail this compliance test. Now, if you want a full video of me describing this, go on the Patreon and search compliance test in the search bar on the homepage, and the video will pop up. Now, up next in terms of tier 1 investment, we have her driving to you or driving further to meet you. And I would say that a 30+ minute drive is usually on the side of higher investment depending on your city. So my city, you can pretty much drive the whole city within 45, 50 minutes. And so if she's investing 30+ minutes to come see me, lives on the other side of town or whatever, then that's overall a sign of high investment. And that's basically what you want to do. You want her to logistically invest more into you in terms of date setup. You know, if you have to comply to go into a place in her area, then so be it. But you always want to be focusing on things near your place or near at least your area of the city and get her to drive to you. All right, so that was tier 1 investment. That's mostly pre-meetup phase. Now let's move on to tier 2 of investment, and this is dating. And at this point in time, if you're dating or courting, and usually at this point in time, you've also have had sex or you're about to, she's to the at least continually investing with her time. So she's going out on dates with you. She's making time to see you on her schedule. So she's already subconsciously investing, which is a good thing. However, it gets deeper than that. So the first thing is, after sex, allow her to reach out to you. And once again, this establishes more of the prize frame. And also it tells you a lot about a woman. I'm not gonna have all the good girls or best women I've met in terms of interest levels, attraction levels, just overall how they are towards me. They've always pursued after we've had sex in some sort of way, whether it be like, hey, I had a good time, or what are you up to this week, or send me a message. If a girl just goes ghosts after sex, then that'll tell you a lot about her. More than likely, she was either expecting that, sees you as a friends with benefits or a hookup, or doesn't want to see you again. And this also goes with first dates too, by the way. But you don't have to be as extreme as me. You don't have to be. But once again, if you chase after sex or even pursue after sex in some cases, you start to lose that prize frame. Now, moving on to step 2, if you do happen to reach out after sex, it's not the end of the world, though it's not a good thing. But you want to make sure that after you guys have had sex, probably at least 3 to 5 times, that 80% of the pursuing should mostly be done by her. So at the beginning of the courtship, you know, you're setting up the dates, you're leading, you're pursuing. It's about 90-10, 100-0. However, after you've seen her a few times, especially sexually after you've seen her a few times, 80% of the pursuing should be brought upon by her. And this, once again, establishes that price frame and gets her to invest more and more into you. Now, how do you exactly go about this? Simple. You just stop communicating. You just stop following up. You allow her to reach out to you. And in some cases, women will be stubborn. They won't reach out to you even after you've smashed them 3 to 5 times. Like, how are we actively seeing each other and you can't even send a good morning text? That blows my mind. And that's also probably a sign that you're in her rotation. She's seeing and dating other men. You're not necessarily a priority, you're just a fun toy. Up next, in terms of tier 2 investment, home dates. For home dates, you want to pick out a recipe and allow her to cook for you, or just allow her to pick out the recipe and let her cook for you. Basically, we want her investing with her time and now hands, doing a deed for you, doing something nice for you, investing with her energy and effort outside of just showing up and spending her time. And the easiest way to do this for most women is to cook something for you. Even if they're not a cook, I don't know, figure it out. Use an air fryer, use a pan, a microwave even, worst case scenario. Point is, you want her to cook for you. Some guys will ask, do I pay for the groceries or how does that work? Honestly, you should allow her to pay for everything if it's under $50 or less. You're the one paying for the dates when you guys go out. So she can invest some of her money for something like this, especially if it's $50 and under. Allow her to find the recipe, or you find the recipe. She goes to the store and she cooks for you. Not necessarily just for you, but for the both of you together, right? At this point in time, once again, we want her to invest with her hands. Now we have another one, and this one's pretty juicy, and that is we want her to sexually invest throughout this tier 2 phase. And that is in a few ways you can actually accomplish. The first one is she gives you head with no sex. So basically just pleasing you. Some girls might do this naturally, depending, if they're freaks or not, or if they like doing that. However, in some cases you might have to ask for it. Closed mouths don't get fed, brother. So you need to open her mouth and feed her. Point is, you want her to give you head with no sex, man. Basically allow her to please you. This doesn't have to be like all the time, but especially in cases where she's on her period or she's not in the mood, quote unquote, whatever, she should always be trying to sexually invest more by pleasing you sexually. In some cases, you might have to ask. Now, also trying things she's never done sexually. So basically, they call this turning her out, turning her into more of a freak, because she probably already is a freak, brother. Making her more of a freak, trying new positions, even recording a girl. Like some girls, though I doubt it, I have to say they've never been recorded or anything like that. Like, take out the phone, Of course, some back shots, make a movie, or just try to do things that she's never done. Because this goes back to another point in terms of just getting a girl more attached to get her to chase you, is that you either want to be her first or her best. So sexually, we can be a first in some cases with a few women, not all of them, because some of these women are absolute freaks. But try to be creative. So we talked about tier 1 investment, we talked about tier 2. Up next, we have the last tier, which is tier 3, and this is long-term relationships. Now, before I get into some of these strategies and things you should do, remember that this doesn't always have to be reciprocated. A lot of you guys will think, oh, I should do this too, or I should do it back to her. No, not necessarily, because reciprocation doesn't equal investment. Remember, investment equals she's doing more than you're doing. You're still meeting her in the middle in some type of way. You're not being like a cold brick or anything, but you're not necessarily reciprocating at the exact point in time. So in terms of long-term relationships, or a girl that you're dating very, very long-term, saying I love you first. Any girl I've ever dated long-term has said I love you first. This could be because it's just how I am from a neurobiological level. Like, I'm not really that in tune with my emotions for a lot of cases and a lot of relationships. So with that being said, women have always said I love you first to me, always. And in most cases, I don't say it back until like months later. And most of the time they're not okay with that internally, but they're forced to be okay with it. And they keep saying I love you too. Just overall, just try to not be the first one to say I love you. Get her to emotionally invest outwardly and express that first. And then also not giving exclusivity easily. Remember, your exclusivity must be earned over time, and that is earned through her investment into you by not only like doing nice things for you, but overall showcasing that she's a woman of value that can provide value to your life. And you actually get her to invest more whenever she knows that potentially something greater can come out between the courtship between you two. You need to some degree sell her a dream, let her know that this potentially can go somewhere, and you'll start to realize that if they see the finish line, they're gonna start to invest more and more into you because that's something they really want. Another thing is showing you to family and friends. This can be online or in person. If you're weird about Instagram posts and you don't wanna be seen, then maybe you can reroute that. But point is, you want her to get you introduced to her close circle of family and her friends, because naturally that's going to provide more of an emotional investment on her part to want to keep you around and to establish something great. Think about it. Any girl who you don't want to invest in, you don't take to your mom. You don't hang out with your dad or your family or even sometimes your close friends, right? And that being said, you cannot necessarily force this, but if the opportunity arises, then naturally this will usually tend to happen. Or just don't shy away from her posting you on Instagram or on her stories or whatever, because she probably wants to show you off. And then also that's another subconscious sign of effort and investment on her part that's going to lead to her wanting to keep you around longer. Then also, this is a weird one, some people might say, is initial tattoos on the finger. So I believe initial tattoos are like the ultimate signs of investment. You're marking something permanent on yourself that states that you have the highest sign of attraction and just overall investment towards me in the courtship or relationship that we do have. Sometimes women will naturally bring this up, especially if they're really into you. But once again, you might have to bring this up yourself. And once again, no, this does not have to be reciprocated. I've had women tattoo my initials on themselves. Not women overall, but just one, more so the one I'm actually speaking to right now. She did this on her own, and without me doing anything back. Of course, this is the ultimate sign of investment. Think of it almost like a marriage, without the contract. But the contract is the fact that it's a tattoo and it's permanent. Yeah, you get tattoo removal now, but there's nothing like a true, ultimate test if she won't tattoo your initials on herself. And this might take some years too, guys. This might take 2, 3, max maybe 4 years. Don't think a woman's gonna tattoo your initial or whatever within 3 or 6 months. No, this takes time. And then lastly, her changing her lifestyle and career and or location for you. Big sign of investment. There's been many times where I met a woman and, dated a woman, and I asked them like, what brought you to the city? Oh, I moved for my boyfriend. We went to the same college, but he graduated, but I didn't want to leave him, so I ended up moving here for him. If a woman is willing to leave a city for you, change her whole entire lifestyle, even forego her career for you, this alongside with the tattoo, ultimate signs of investment towards you. And if she's already doing this, then you've done everything right at this point in time. Chances are you've been together with her for a long time. She sees a future with you, and she ain't going nowhere, brother. So those were the ultimate signs of investment in the different tiers. Also keep in mind, you have to see and communicate with her consistently for all of this to work. This is not gonna work for like a friends with benefits or a girl you see occasionally. No, you're also gonna have to invest time and effort consistently if you want to tackle these tiers of investment, all right? So thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Peace.